And me and actually we're going to vote, but then we're going to do it tomorrow or next weekend.
How do you vote?
Instead, we got to go to the church nearby.
I thought you had to wait for in person.
Yeah, I thought
it's early voting.
Oh, I figured you could just like do a mail-in.
I thought that's what early voting was mail-in.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. I think you.
I really have no idea. That's why I'm curious.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really know how it worked.
I'm not either. I just do what she tells me.
I can respect that.
my political views, whatever Ashley tells me.
Well, no, it's just I don't know where to go or what to do.
I wouldn't know either.
You guys have to go to this like the ballot boxes right next to each other, and you're like,
yeah.
Ashley, what
do?
You can like.
Can I cheat off your ballot?
I think you gotta like type in your address online somewhere, and it'll tell you like where you have to go.
I do know that. Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Album Sharing Sessions. Where I'm going to redo that. Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Album Sharing Sessions, where it's like a music book club. We give each other 3 albums, we rate them, kind of celebrate the differences in music taste. And, yeah, besides having one reviewer give you your opinion, you have 3. Yay.
Yay.
Hooray. And hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Today, I made everybody listen to Moral Panic's Complete Edition by Nothing But Thieves.
I was very confused. Well, I guess we'll get into it when we talk about your album, but I was very confused. It was like when a game like has a deluxe like.
That's fair.
Like,
Yeah.
Like obviously a lot of albums have deluxe editions, but this one was like
a little bit different.
Yeah. Anyway, I picked Imaginal Disk by Magdalena Bay.
I picked Evermore by Taylor Swift.
What did Ken pick?
I don't know.
But, hello, I'm your host, Tristan. Just another clone of a 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 clone, and whenever I stop doing that, I just...
Is that your whole page?
Yeah, it's just me writing a clone of a clone. I hope my co-host to my left is someone who I think did it, and I just can't prove it. His name is Timmy. And then
or is it?
Where is it? And my co-host to my right, his name is Brandon. He is tired of telling you, so he's told me to tell you that he's told you like 1,000 times that he's your Valentine.
I've been known to do that.
Know. Yours was the hardest one I've had to come up with yet for this album. I listened to it specifically once all the way through just to be like, is there a single time where this album says like I am, or just make it easy for me? And Timmy's was the easiest because it's the whole damn chorus of that song. But hi. Normally I come up with some like gimmicky way to give us an order.
Yeah, last time was like Spotify listeners.
Yeah.
The time before that was oldest to newest.
And I try to make it work in a way where I feel like the finale should be a finale. And then like, always try to keep in mind.
Well, Timmy should probably go first so that people can click off the videos.
No. The hair on the mic. I think Ken.
Hey.
We were combing Ken's hair. That's what happened.
That's been our strategy in the past with Chapel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter.
But I always try to keep in mind who's gone first and stuff here recently too. And I was like, I don't really have a way to do this in a gimmicky way, or like a way to make it seem like I had an idea when I don't. And then I try to look back and go like, oh, well, who hasn't gone first in a while? And I've actually done a pretty decent job of making sure people
it's been pretty round robin.
I was like, when's the last time I went first? 3 times ago. When was the last time I went second? 2 times ago. When's the last time I went last? Last time. So I'm just going to go first again.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to spoil it. We're going to go Imaginal Disk after that and end with Taylor Swift.
All right. You can fast forward to whatever part.
It's all bookmarked. So
okay.
the episodes are bookmarked. But Nothing But Thieves Moral Panic is where we will start today. On this glorious episode 11 of the podcast.
Episode 11?
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
I was looking for 11 on my notepad. Where I was like, where is 11 at? I've been writing these in order. I thought we were on 12.
Well,
I was like,
yeah, because this is post
Yeah.
the gimmick round, which would be every 5, so yeah. That's crazy, though.
We also have a baby sleeping next door, so if it's a little mellowed, that's
yeah,
why.
We're trying not to be too loud.
I'm talking quietly on purpose this time.
Yeah, I was going to actually yell your guys' intros because, like, I wrote them in capitals and everything. I was going to yell. You did it. Blare out the mic again and zoom in on my face. That's what I did in the last episode. But it came out originally on October 23rd, 2020. But the edition of this album that we were listening to came out October 29th of 2021. Nothing But Thieves is currently at 3.5 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Which, yeah, I mean, I've never heard of this band.
They're another UK, more popular over there kind of thing.
I kind of got the feeling, just because a lot of the people I saw online said that this band sounds a lot like Muse.
I don't hear
which I don't necessarily listen to Muse very much.
I seen that yesterday.
If they were trying to emulate Muse, like that, Muse is just that, like, you know, UK.
It reminds me of a band called like Mystery Skulls.
Never heard of that
I
at all.
don't know who that is.
I didn't think you did. But the first few songs, they remind me of Mystery
I
Skulls.
should not have a music podcast. I should just know like musical skulls.
You should be like Anthony Fantano. He just knows everything.
Just give me some obscure bull crap, and I'd be like, everything of their whole discology.
Look at Mystery Skulls.
But yeah, I actually finally got to see them because they're being a UK band and them being bigger over there. I've never seen them before until last week or the week before. I think pretty happy about it. But with that, I finally have merch. But I followed this.
You had to buy a shirt specifically for the podcast.
Well, just because I don't have anything, Nothing But Thieves. I've listened to Nothing But Thieves probably since the same time I about listened to 21 Pilots now. Where my first car didn't have a way to hook up a phone to it. And I had a dumb phone because I was pretty late to the smartphone game. Anyway. So I listened to, and my CD player broke is the problem. So I had to listen to alternative radio stations. And I found like 21 Pilots and Nothing But Thieves. And I have a little hole in my heart, or spot in my heart, for all the music that got me through not listening or hating the radio. Where like it would be Red Hot Chili Peppers, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then it would be like, oh wait, now here's Nothing But Thieves. They had a song called Trip Switch on the radio back in like 2014 area. I liked it a lot. And then there was a weird part in my life between like that period and like 2016, 2017 before I got a smartphone and got Apple Music and all that stuff where I wasn't really discovering or listening to much music. So this is like my first full album from them, even though now I've went back and listened to everything. But I just knew their singles and then now this. But I like Nothing But Thieves a lot. I've been listening to them on and off since 2014. I picked this album because this album's little thing we're about to explain is a lot of the reason why a lot of my reviews are like, I could make this album better, or I could cut some songs or add some songs and make it to where it's different
like
and
with
works.
The Astro Lounge.
Yeah, where like I used to make a bunch of mixtapes and stuff, and like there was one that I hated because I would listen to it and it'd give me a headache, and I was just like, I feel like it's the flow of the songs, and ever since then I was like, if the album doesn't flow in a certain way, I don't like it. And this one, maybe Nothing But Thieves caught on to that, but the original Moral Panic is good, and I like the songs. But the order of the songs make it feel longer than the album where they added 5 more songs and made it 20 minutes longer. Like the new version version of the album feels longer, or feels shorter to me than the shorter version of the same album.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
I actually wrote notes. All my notes are just where the songs went to. And
my guess. Yeah, they're not gonna be able to see it, but it's like
Yeah.
it's like the meme of
Maybe I can take
It's
a
Always
picture of
Sunny,
it.
where he's like,
Yeah, like number 1 is still 1, but then 2 on this version doesn't exist on the first one, so then 2 became 3. But then 3 and 4 became 13 and 14. 5 became 10.
it's
6
all,
became
like,
15.
jumbled up,
7
right?
became 4.
I briefly looked at I don't know if you'd say the first album
Yeah.
or like the initial release of this album, and noticed well, this is all like chopped up. Like this was a totally different listening experience.
So originally, this album is probably one I'm just going to spoil it in advance. I probably would have gave like a 7, 7.5 to maybe originally. Because like there are songs on it that I like a lot on the original version. But like having Moral Panic and Real Love Song at 3 and 4 kind of kill the momentum of the album going like right at the start.
I could definitely see that. Like I said, I didn't listen to the initial version of this, just the one that you had us listen to, but just knowing them two songs, like they fit
Much better at 13 and
the
14.
end than right near the beginning.
Editor's note, Tristan here. Brandon, after recording, wanted to mention that something that I didn't even notice, that Real Love Song, the Nothing But Thieves song, mentions Nick Cave in it, and he thought that I had purposefully picked this album right after we covered Nick Cave because of that, and forgot to put it in here and asked if I could edit it in. So here's my attempt of editing it in. So yeah. But then like
I could see how that would be a buzz killer.
This version puts Phobia and Can You Afford to Be an Individual together, which like makes a lot of sense. They're 5 songs apart in the original. Feels like the end is number 6 in the original.
That's annoying.
It's the midway point of the album. Why does it feel like the end? It's 15 at the new one. There's just a lot of interesting calls that they absolutely fixed with the new version, and that's about as far as I'll go into.
Yeah, they must have got a hold of somebody, or you took some criticism, like, hey, maybe you should move these songs around.
Or like this album didn't get very good reviews, and I don't think many people like went back to it to like, hey, the complete edition, because if you didn't like it originally, but
yeah, you wouldn't listen to it again.
Such an improvement that it's insane. But that being said, if you guys didn't listen to the original, that's where I'll cut it off, other than talking about songs that weren't in the original that are in this one. It's just really interesting to me. It's changed my whole point, how I look at albums.
Yeah, normally when a band does a deluxe, they just add on the bonus tracks at the end.
Well, even this one. It's their next album. They just shoved it at the end.
Yeah, it's very rare to see like a reshuffling of the songs.
But genius. Works so much better. That being said, I like this album. I don't know what else to say. We're going into more categories of like my favorite vocalist, where his name's Connor Mason. Love that guy. Great vocalist. Just run through the list of all my favorites in this podcast. I feel like while I do really like him and he's a great vocalist, it's not just the Connor Mason show. I feel like not that it's like technically skilled or anything, but like there's some really heavy riffs and like
I thought that was the best part of the album was they're kind of it's not really industrial rock, but like it's got that kind of gritty sound to it, like especially in the first 2 tracks.
Yeah, it's definitely different kind of sound, but also like way heavier riffs than you would think of just kind of like I don't really even know what to classify them, but not like a hard rock band for any sense of term.
Yeah, it doesn't. They don't like. You can't really put a glove on them. I don't think. Like I said earlier, with the Muse comparisons, like I don't think Muse sounds like this anymore.
Not at all. I don't think they ever really did, to tell you the truth. I don't. I heard the Muse comparison on a Reddit thread yesterday. I was like, I've never heard Muse from this band ever. I've listened to them more, and
I could see maybe Muse's first couple albums. Like,
I honestly think it's just that they had more or Nothing But Thieves open for them, and they're both from like the same area of the world.
I like Muse's first couple albums. I could kind of see the influence with this band, but it's not nearly enough to make me go, oh, Muse, like they're just doing the Muse. Like, no, I didn't get that at all until I read that. online.
And I still don't even after reading it. I also never got any of the other comparisons. I was reading in the comments where I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. And people were comparing him to Royal Blood. Same thing. Just a different part of the world. They sound nothing like Royal Blood.
I will say, after last week, I was glad you're back on the board with me.
Yay.
In case you didn't see last week, me and Tristan did not agree
What?
with his album. I did not care for Kim Dracula, but I thought this album was pretty solid.
Yay.
You mentioned though how it flows much better on this complete edition.
Yeah.
I do feel like there was kind of some, I don't want to say gaps, but like there's a lot of long pauses at the end of songs, where I don't know if that was like intentional.
I do think,
or if they were just like,
Before We Drift in particular was originally the last song on the album.
Okay.
I feel like they didn't cut down the ending a little bit.
Yeah, that's...
But there is a long silence there.
Yeah, like it doesn't... Like there's still... Like the flow... I'll take your word for it. It probably is much better, but I still feel like there's a little bit room for improvement. But then again, I didn't listen to the initial one, so...
I think the biggest example of the flow being better is that Moral Panic and Real Love song are later in the album. They're not right after Is Everybody Going Crazy.
If they were in the beginning...
They were 3 and 4.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would...
And then went into Phobia.
I wouldn't like this album as much if specifically those 2 tracks were near the beginning.
And then, again, feels like the end being the dead center point of the album makes no sense as well. But yeah, going into how we listen to the complete version besides the original, how would you guys feel if Future Proof wasn't on this album?
Future Proof was one of the better songs.
It's fantastic.
So, yeah.
That was the first single from the little EP that they shoved together with this, and I was like, man, this should have been on the album. It's so good. Future Proof's amazing.
Yeah, Unperson and Future Proof are back to back. Like, I guess you would say they're the heaviest songs. I mean,
yeah.
Phobia goes pretty hard too, but I feel like if you're going to open the album, it was probably best to do it with Unperson and Future Proof.
Yeah. They do the thing that I'm going to go back into songs that weren't on the original album in a bit, but they do the thing that I'm a sucker for in music, where basically if you have a band that typically starts their song slow and then like builds to something crazy at the end.
Yeah.
It's almost every song on this.
Phobia does that the best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you're right. They do it quite a bit.
There's a lot of slow starting songs on this, like most of them really. They never end that way. Ever. And I'm a sucker for it.
Yeah, well, it's good because it's like after the first couple listens, you know where it's heading, but that first listen, it always catches you by surprise.
Arm's Length actually made fun of themselves when I seen them last, saying that that's what they do in their songs. They just repeat the same thing and make it louder, and people eat it up. It's like, you got me. That's it. That's what I like in music. So if anybody ever has any recommendations for me, do that, because I like it a lot.
I think Nothing But Thieves here does that style particularly well, though. Like with the Phobia, when that riff comes in, I was not expecting that at all.
Even Your Blood does that. I don't know how to say the French word, but...
Say Narine, I think?
Yeah, not on the original album, by the way, but same thing. Really all of them. Even Moral Panic starts, like, it gets a drum beat halfway through.
I was listening to Your Blood the other day. I mean, it ends the album, but...
not on the original album either.
Well, which is weird, because it definitely is a pretty fitting end to the album.
Yeah.
But anyway, like for a slower kind of acoustic track, it's got a lot going on in it. Like I was pretty impressed with that one sonically.
We're like, bring back to Phobia. It starts with like a whisper talking about how like he's in a hotel and it's like creepy, almost like The Diner from Billie Eilish, but then it goes like crazy towards the end. Can You Afford to Be Individual is the same thing, where that song is mostly why I picked this album when I did, because I think it's one of the best political songs I've heard. Probably just ever.
Yeah, like instead of going on like a crazy riff, he goes on a political tirade, rant, whatever you want to call it.
Like crazy impressively sing as well.
Yeah.
Just like screaming in the sense of this not being a band that screams. It's not like fried or anything. It's just a talented singer screaming.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, I wouldn't even call it a scream. It's just like...
It gets very loud.
It's just very direct.
Yeah.
And to the point. Like, it grabs your attention.
I thought I was going to make it awkward, so I'm not going to do it. But I was actually going to just read the second verse of that. So if you get a chance, go listen to Can You Afford to Be Individual? It's good. Probably my favorite song on this. Tell you the truth.
So yeah, we talked a lot about their heavier tracks, but some of these I feel like I might have heard like either at work or like on a commercial or whatever.
Maybe. Like
I don't know if maybe it's just a song that sounds like it, but like I could have swore I've heard "Is Everybody Going Crazy" before.
Maybe. I think it was a single off this. It was possible. The only song I've heard off this in public was "If I Were You." I heard it in a Target, and I was like, why is this playing? Because, again, If I Were You is not on the original album either. So it being, like, played in a Target caught me off guard, but it fits, it works, I like it.
I think Miracle Baby was another one that
they're not,
sounded kind of familiar.
Miracle Baby also not on the original album.
That's so strange.
We're getting through all of these that weren't on the original. I think that's all of them. I was just going to go through them, but we did them all.
Yeah,
Some of the best songs were not on it originally.
Man, Future, that blows my mind that wasn't on the original one.
There's a 5-song EP if you ever wanted to listen. It's called Moral Panic 2. If you ever wanted to hear just the songs that weren't on it, kind of mind-blowing. I like that they did it, though, because Nothing But Thieves have a strange tendency to shove songs that are some of their best in EPs that get buried in singles on Apple Music and streaming services. Where they have an EP that's like orange. It says like RCA on the front of it, I think. I don't know what it's called. But you have to scroll through and then hit like more singles and albums or more singles and EPs to get to it. Some of their best music is on that album or that EP. It makes me sad that it's buried now. Yeah, I don't know. I really like Nothing But Thieves. They do the building song thing. I basically went through all my talking points. I'm really biased towards this. Not really. I don't know. I like it. That's all.
I get it.
I liked it too.
I thought it was alright.
Probably not as much as you did, but I did like
Probably
it.
Not.
I did like it.
There's a lot riding on the making me listen to music and albums in a different light. Where like, and a lot of these things were like, we reviewed. Not on podcast, but Demi Lovato forever ago.
Yeah.
And that album that we did, it was Demi. I didn't like it particularly because it would go like breakup song together song, breakup song together song, breakup song. It's like if you could just make one half of this together, it would seem like a concept of a breakup maybe, but it was broken up that way, and I didn't like it because of that. Or like, I liked this album before. They took it, rearranged it exponentially, and made it a billion times better, in my humble opinion. Even though it's an hour long, it feels shorter.
I will say it does feel like it drags in some places.
Yeah.
I mean, but like not overly so. Like I never felt like it was like a chore or a slog to get through. But I do feel like maybe you could have left a song or two off, but like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I feel like it could be a little shorter. My main complaint is just so long.
I think the only reason it's probably not is because it was the original album and you can't just cut songs in a deluxe.
Right.
Yeah.
Which like this album's kind of a weird case since it's it's an album plus an EP.
It's an album plus an EP. It's just shoved together and made better. So it's 16
I can,
songs.
Yeah, like I can give it a pass there.
Nothing But Thieves, I don't think, has ever released a 16-song album before. They always do deluxe, though, so they always end up that way. It's never like this. It's normally just the standard, like, we'll throw a few acoustics and 3 more songs on the end. But it's never lazy in the way that it's just acoustics or it's just remixes.
Right, I hate when I don't even bother if it's something like that.
So, for example, Dead Club City, their newest, adds 3 more songs and some deluxes, and then Broken Machines before it does the different stuff as well. But yeah, Tim, you have any thing that we haven't touched on, or
not really?
Okay, fair enough.
I don't have much to say about it.
We can go into scores if you guys would like.
Okay. I will go with a 7.5. Pretty solid album.
Yay!
I'll go
I got
with
back on the Brandon train.
I'll go with a 6.
Okay. I was in between a 9.5 and a 9. So I'm going to go 9.25.
That is indeed halfway between.
Yep. I was really just like, there were days where I'm like, this is stellar, and 9.5 is like, obviously a 9 is also stellar. But
7.6.
Cool.
Rounding up.
I don't really need my notes much after this. I really just had the album placements being different. Or it's funny, where just as like a random like thing I find funny, that's just numbers. Before we drift away, I actually didn't move any spots in the track list, but it's because it's still track 11 on both, but the one ends the album and it's not the best ender of the album. And then in the middle it works, and it's still track 11, but it's in the middle. Just stupid. Like, wow, that didn't move at all, but now it's in the middle.
It gained by doing nothing.
Yeah. Now we move on to the next one, which is Magdalena Bay's Imaginal Disk. It was released August 23rd of 2024, and they are at 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify. It's just a little bit less.
Just losing a little bit to Nothing But Thieves.
This was a thing where I was just like, I need to go first, but also like the albums are, if I went like oldest to newest, it would go mine, Timmy, you. And then if I went most Spotify, it would be you, me, Timmy.
Or you mean least Spotify? Like,
yeah.
Least, I was going to say that.
It's just, it wasn't working the way I wanted to, so I just went, what's something I haven't done? Basically, I took 3 episodes ago and made it this one.
Well, cool. All right, so Magdalena Bay is a band that I had never heard of until, like, basically when this album came out, and it was getting a lot of buzz. And I don't know if you kept this in on the last episode, but the cover is what drew me into it, because it immediately reminded me of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think that particular thing is on there, but the album art is on there. It's about all of us.
Okay. But yeah, so I was like, well, this, I don't know if this is like on purpose or not, but like people seem to like this album, and like how can I not listen to it if it's like it just seems so JoJo-esque, which I don't even know if that's what they were going for. I doubt it, but to fans of JoJo, it's like Timmy caught on right away when he saw it. But anyway, this album has nothing to do with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But what it is, in my opinion, it might be my favorite album of the year.
Really?
Yes, maybe.
What? It's going to be No Hands?
Okay, so I was going to say No Hands might be my personal favorite album of the year. Like, personally. I know this Imaginal Disk is probably... It's more, like, I don't know if accessible is the right word, but it's not just people rapping,
nonsense
memes and just whatever.
That's what I really enjoy about like end of year album lists and stuff, where it's just like in a normal conversation you would never throw those two names together.
Right. Like that. Like they're easy unless something comes out.
Let's really compare No Hands to Imaginal Disk.
Unless something comes out in the next month or so, it's going to be Imaginal Disk, and No Hands is my 1 and 2.
I have heard of them.
That's how I just wanted to start it off.
I have heard of them before, because a music reviewer that I followed for like years, like, absolutely adores them. Actually, to the point where he put this album on, like, he just did a top 100 albums of all time for him, and he put this at 17, even though it came out like 2 months ago.
I think this album has a serious, like, if you look back at the decade, once we get to like 2030, I think this album has serious staying power. Like, I really do think it's a special album that will be remembered for years.
So I'm gonna be the one to let you down this time, Brandon.
Yeah, I figured.
I don't not like it though. I just the dreaminess of it made it really hard for me to focus on it for some reason this little couple of weeks. Like every time I would like listen to it in my car on the way home from Indianapolis. Actually, I would listen to these two because I took a vacation this time and I wasn't at work, so I didn't really listen to it as much as I normally do. But like I was driving and I would just let it like zone out and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm still listening to this, and it happens every time I listen to it. Where like I'll miss 2 songs just because I completely space out.
I think
it's just a personal thing, but also it is really dreamy. And
well, yeah, I mean that's what they're going for.
So
they're going for.
Maybe they made me subliminally zone out.
I don't think it's really a car like driving.
No, it's not.
Album.
It's not, but here I am listening to it every day. So
I listened to it like while I was like falling asleep in bed, and
there you go.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, do you you don't think it was like boring? Do you? No. Like, okay, I didn't want to.
No, again, I like it.
I didn't want to put words in your mouth.
I think it sounds good. But like in a lyrical stance, where normally that's where I like to pick apart stuff, I didn't get anything, and I know it's there. I just didn't. And
so yeah, like when it comes to like dream pop, which I don't know if this is technically dream pop, but a lot of the times,
like it should
be. Yeah, like a lot of those kind of artists, like I want to try and get into, but it's like I kind of suffer the same thing you just said, where it's like I don't know, it's like too dreamy, but for whatever reason, this album just hit the sweet spot where it was both ethereal and also had a lot of moving parts going along with the instrumentation and production to really keep the listener engaged, but at the same time, you know, allow you to kind of drift off and not pay super close attention to it, if that makes sense.
That's why I feel like I had such a hard time trying to come up with like a stupid intro that I've been writing. Right? Just like I would look down and I would be at like I would get to like True Blue Interlude or something, and then I would look back down and I would already be at like Vampire in the Corner and be like, where did those last 3 songs go?
Well, I mean, that's like a plus for me. Like this album is a bit on the longer side. It's not super long, but it flies by when I listen to it. I mean, granted, that's probably just because I like it a lot, but I think it flows.
It didn't feel like it dragged at all.
I think it flows incredibly well. Like how you were saying with Nothing But Thieves.
Yeah.
I think each track is placed where they are for a reason.
Yeah, truthfully, that one being an hour long, I fly through it, and it feels like nothing.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, it's a weird little stint to be in where I'm at, where I don't have a ton to say about it, but I didn't dislike it. I can't pick it apart. I can't tell you like, I don't like this song because it does a weird thing, or I like this song because of this. It exists. And I'm happy it exists and that all the music reviewer and music nerds have their album. And that I'm happy that the society at whole has this. Maybe it'll come to me at a later date if I come back to it. But at this very moment in time.
Maybe. When I first listened to it, it kind of grabbed me right away. Yeah. To where at the point I was like, I'm picking this for the next podcast. Like, there's no doubt about it.
You didn't have much time. This came out, we did a spooky episode.
Well, yeah, that's true. It came out in August. So that was good timing there. Like, I had a bit of a buffer. Yeah. but anyway, yeah, like this week, I was not prepared at all to pick an album because I was, like, just, I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop listening to Imaginal Disk.
No, the way that people talk about it, I wish I got more out of it, where I was like, hey, like, it's ARTV. He put it at 17 of his all-time favorite albums. So it's like, this album just came out. And he explains that, too. He's like, I know it just came out, but it's going to be there. And, like, their first album also he really liked and praised a lot.
Their Mercurial World.
Yeah. Or, like, he probably would have put both on them if he was doing multiple albums, but
no,
he's been singing their praises for years.
I've never sat down to, like, make a top 100 albums of all time list.
I couldn't.
And I would be... I do think it's a bit bold to put it so high.
Yeah.
Even though I literally just said, like, I think this will be remembered for years to come. It is a bold move to put it that high when it, like, literally just came out a month ago. But at the same time, I see his point. Like, yeah. I think I agree with him.
That same list had Nothing But Thieves at the beginning of it. It was like 98, and it was a different album, but it was there. Sadly, I can't make the same thing for you. I can't attach it to ARTV. But yeah, Timmy, what do you think about it, other than you putting you to sleep?
I like it a lot.
That's a bad way to say what you were doing.
I mean,
It bore him to sleep.
I used to listen to Death Clock while going to sleep, like in high school.
Boring stuff too.
It's not boring. I just like listening to music while I'm laying in bed. And I
Death Clock and Magdalena Bay, yeah, very, very similar.
Put them on shuffle and see how trippy that is.
I would be. I'm gonna be
go from that's my Florida. I ejaculate fire.
But I don't know. I like it. I want to listen to it more, and I kind of want to check out their other music.
There's just one more, I believe.
Yeah, it's just the 2 albums, plus like some random singles here and there.
The people of this band are like producers or something, right?
Yeah, it's just
they,
2
like,
of them.
They like have made music for other people or something.
Yeah, so actually, there's the song "Love Is Everywhere." They produced that beat for Lil Yachty on his album last year, and then they repurposed it and repackaged it into "Love Is Everywhere" for this album.
Okay. Yeah, I just knew that.
But yeah, I think they've been around like as producers for a little bit, but I don't know the full story of the band, but they've come together and have made 2 albums. So
on YouTube Music, I'm looking at view counts. The only one that's passed 1 million is Image.
yeah, I kind of thought that their YouTube numbers would be a little higher than they are.
Me too.
With how much excitement this album has been getting.
They're right behind Nothing But Thieves and like monthly listeners, but their YouTube numbers are all 1 million plus. Besides one, it looks like. They only have one past that. This is surprising. I really thought that it would be like a lot higher than that.
So yeah, I will say the first 3 tracks I kind of treat like a prologue to the album. Like because it is a bit of a strange choice to put an interlude at track number 3, but I think afterwards, where Image, Death Romance, and all them come after, that's when the album really picks up steam.
She Looked Like Me also feels like an intro too.
Yeah, and like they call back to the refrain from She Looked Like Me in the last song, Ballad of Matt and Mika. Actually, it's like kind of all over the place, but like specifically in that one, they call back to it. But I don't know, man. I like this album a lot. This is like one of those albums, like I have mentioned with Brand New and The Devil and God. It's like the first time you listen to it, but the first time I listened to it, I'm like, this is something special. I just need to listen to it some more. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had more. I could keep going. I didn't know if you guys had wanted to interject.
But if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be That's My Floor.
I
like that song quite a bit.
That song's really good, but again, I like every song on the album. So
I liked Fear, Sex.
That song's kind of just like it's like part 2 to actually on the music video to Death and Romance. Fear of Sex is in that music. No. Like it's an 8-minute long music video because it's both songs put together.
Yeah.
My favorite, like if I had to pick one, would be Vampire in the Corner, because like
that's where your intro came from.
Because like, well, I guess you just knew. But like how you were saying with Nothing But Thieves, how they kind of build up to.
Yeah.
Their endings. Vampire in the Corner is like one of the best explosions of sound, like outros that I've ever heard. Period. Yeah. And it's not that long of a song. It's only like 3.5 minutes. Yeah. But when, like, you know what part I'm talking about, right? Yeah. When that happens, every time it's like I get chills. So
I'm happy that you have this album, Bram.
Yeah.
I wish I had more to say.
This, it's like and it's not like a typical album for me either. Like
no.
This is, I don't think I've picked anything like this.
This whole round I've been sitting there like, we've done 11 episodes of this and we've done so much pop. And before the podcast actually started, we rarely touched pop.
Yeah, we hardly touched pop.
We've done so much now.
Just on the off, we did Thriller and Billie Eilish.
And even then, that we did Where Do We Go? And that's not the whole title, I know, but I would even seem like that's not as poppy as what we've been covering lately. But yeah, just really, we're going pop. Pop all the time.
Podcast goes pop. But, Timmy, do you have any favorite tracks? You said Fair Sex, which, for it being an interlude, it is a really good song.
Yeah.
Yeah. My laugh came from me trying to make our podcast name with our abbreviation with the word pop, and I was like, that's so weird.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. I had the same thought.
That's where my brain was like, that was the silence.
I'm like, we probably shouldn't bring that up.
My brain was going, we're the Album Sharing Sessions Pop Podcast. So then if you abbreviate it, it's bad.
Did you guys have any thoughts about her vocals on this album? Because if the only discourse about this album I've seen is like some people didn't care for her voice.
I don't think it's like anything that either way.
I don't really see how you could not like it. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's annoying. I really like it, but it's I just can't really see how people wouldn't like it.
It didn't bug me. I wouldn't put her on like my favorite vocalist list or anything, but
I liked her voice. I thought it was like kind of unique.
Yeah, it's just like alien. Like I don't know. It just fits the music perfectly.
I think that seems fair. But yeah, no. I could see that being a problem though for people. Or is a higher register than most music. I don't know. It's here or there for me.
Well, yeah.
Dance.
I don't know. I mean, I could say a whole lot more, but I don't want to. We're kind of pressed for time here, so I don't want to.
You absolutely can. You can say as much as you want.
But at the same time, I feel like we did cover a lot of the bases that I wanted to cover. So
I feel like I ruined his whole stance. He's just gonna lean now. I was trying to give him a pen.
But I don't know. I think I've said my piece. Like my rating should probably be pretty obvious if you guys just want to get into.
Yours is gonna be a 2.
If you guys want to get into the final scores,
I'll go 5.5.
I'll go 7.5.
Hey.
Yeah. 10.
What?
Easy 10 for me.
You mean 1-0, and by that I mean 1.
5.5, 7.5. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. 7.7. So you just beat me by a decimal.
Wow.
All right.
And now the podcast is over.
Here's what Tristan's probably been dreading this for the past 3 weeks.
We're ending the episode with 2. We're so pressed on time. Brandon just went on
folks.
too long.
Sorry, folks. We're out of time. That's why you wanted me to keep going. Yeah, we have a thing to get to after this. So I don't know if we sound rushed, but
no, we're not. We still have time. We are covering Evermore by Taylor Swift. It came out December 11th of 2020, and probably mostly due to us and us covering it this time. She has 91.7 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Yeah, wait, who? Who is it?
Yeah, we're doing a lot for this up-and-coming artist. Nothing without the album sharing sessions.
Never heard of her. Even though we've listened to 3. This is the 3rd time we've listened to her album.
I didn't know. Do you have a way to intro this?
Sort of.
Okay, go for it.
Evermore is connected kind of to her album Folklore.
Which we have covered.
Yeah.
Not on here.
Not on this podcast, but we have listened to it.
I think that's part of why I like this album out of her albums. But Folklore is like summer to fall, and then Evermore is like fall to winter. in like the vibes of the song, I guess.
Do you by chance know when Folklore came out?
No.
Darn. Okay, keep talking.
Okay, that was it.
This was what, like a year after Folklore?
I think it's the same year as why.
Or it might have been a few months. Okay. Folklore was like COVID.
July 24th of 2020 to December 11th of 2020.
Okay.
So 6 months.
They're both COVID albums.
I assume they were before COVID. I never really knew until just now, basically.
Or well, they released during.
Yeah.
I don't know if she had written them
Probably
prior. But
lockdown. Had some time to write like 27 songs or something, but had no instruments in her house.
One of the songs was actually recorded at Marcus Mumford's house from Mumford & Sons.
Does that
Which
mean
one?
that they were
Cowboy
breaking
Like Me.
there?
And-
He's on that song.
Yeah, and he's also in it.
It doesn't say featured, but he's a feature on that one.
She was just like recording it, and he was there. And
They were
she was
breaking
just, like,
lockdown protrols.
And
he was just in the background.
Cancel Taylor Swift and Marcus Mumford for canceling or breaking lockdown protocols. Darn them. They're the reason COVID lasted so long. And it's still lasting.
So anyway.
Okay.
We can't talk about Taylor Swift. She's a bad person. She broke lockdown protocols.
You're doing everything you can not to.
As we all worked in a grocery store.
Talking about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta rip the Band-Aid off.
No way.
So, well, okay. Remind me, what did you think of Folklore? Because I don't.
Are you asking
remember.
me?
Yes, I am asking.
About what I feel about this one, probably a little bit better. Folklore.
Well, okay, but
better.
like, do you remember like roundabout what kind of?
Really,
score
I
you
don't
gave
think
it?
I gave it a crazy good score because it's just boring. And I know you liked it a lot.
I did. Well, I wouldn't say a lot.
You
a lot.
loved it so much.
I
don't know, you
gave it a 7.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I gave it a
I
7.
probably was around like a 4. If I didn't go back and try to figure it out. I did go back and listen to Folklore again. Because I wanted to compare
You want
the
to
two.
compare?
Made it a bit of a chore because they're forever long. Because it's Taylor Swift and she can't make a short album.
So yeah, as someone who did actually like Folklore, I thought this was just kind of Folklore, but worse, like a little worse. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't bad, but
Kind of it.
if I had to pick one of the two, it would be Folklore.
Yeah, I like Folklore a lot more, but I still do like this one. I like the whole fall vibe.
I like what she did here with these two albums as opposed to like we listened to Midnight's before, and I did not like that album
Midnight's
much
isn't
at all.
very good.
Yeah.
Like even just as a pop album, like unopposed to these two albums,
Nothing
it's just
pops on the pop
it's just
album.
not that good of an album.
Yeah, I think Midnight's was just kind of experimental in a way.
Well,
Experimenting on how little she can get away with.
I guess.
but I definitely think her songwriting is her strongest suit, and I think that really shines on these two like folk albums.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like her storytelling is part of the reason why she's as big as she is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's definitely got its problems. It's pretty bloated, I would say. I'm thankful you didn't have us listen to the deluxe, which I think adds like 2 or 3 more songs.
Oh yeah, I think it's
I
3.
don't think that's necessary.
Which
You don't want to make it an hour and a half.
this album already felt very long.
Yeah.
I went back in her discography at some point and tried to figure out if this long album thing was just because of streaming and getting numbers up. But she's been doing long albums since she started.
Like when she did like 15 and stuff.
Every single album has like 17 songs. So it's just her.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it's like, I mean, I guess that's just kind of just her thing, like you said, but I don't know, man. Like, so sometimes less is more.
If I'm going to be
it could have been trimmed a little bit.
If I'm going to be the contrarian, not that I didn't like it, get it out of the way. I didn't hate it though either. Another one of those where I was just like, I'm on vacation. I haven't been able to get and listen to these as much. I drove home from Indianapolis and I was fighting to stay awake listening to this.
What
Really
now as what you just said about Imaginal Disk, which one put you to sleep?
I
more?
listened to
This one or
Imaginal Disk second because I knew this one was going to put me to sleep.
Maybe you should stop listening to albums while driving.
I stopped listening to albums that are 15 songs that just have a piano in them while driving.
Hey, Imaginal Disk doesn't just have piano.
No, this one does.
Okay.
So the reason why I'm saying that I probably like Folklore more is because I think in my review for that I was just like, it's like she found an instrument and decided that was the instrument of the song. It's like she found a piano and made it the album of piano in this one. There's like a harmonica in Folklore. Nowhere to be found here. I think there's 4 percussion instruments in this whole album. And one of those is a tambourine, like not even actually a drum.
I don't think...
My main complaint is that it's boring. Songwriting-wise, it's fine. There is a song on it that I like a lot, and you could probably guess which one.
I don't know, because there's also one song in particular that I like way more than the rest. I wonder if it's the same one.
Nobody No Crime is the best song on this album.
That's my least favorite.
That was
What? That's the best song on this album.
I'll meet you guys in the middle. I was kind of... It's the song that's been in my head the most.
Yeah, I mean, the chorus is just the repeated lines.
Right.
It's
but it's kind of just like middle of the road for me.
Honestly, the problem with it is that it is very similar to a Carrie Underwood song.
Yeah, I think that's the vibe she's going for.
There's a particular song where it's called Two Black Cadillacs, where it's a song about a mistress and a wife getting together to kill a husband.
Yeah.
Where this is... Same kind of people die. Yeah. But I think it's the best song on this album. There's a drum in it. It tells a little bit more of a story.
I don't think just additional instruments really affect
It does,
the
though.
songs.
It does when you're falling asleep.
While listening to this, I wasn't like, damn, I wish they threw in more instruments.
I did a lot.
I don't know. I didn't notice or mind the lack of instruments.
It's all Pananer.
My main thing was I don't think the storytelling was quite as...
It's not as good
as on Folklore.
Because I remember...
Folklore told like the story, like the love triangle story. I wasn't 100% sure if this album had like a overarching story to it or not.
I'm not certain if it does.
Would you say that, long story short, it was a bad time?
I guess.
I was going to put that at the beginning. I forgot. I didn't hate it, though. I do like Nobody No Crime. I just have a feeling that you could make like... The vibe that this album has is like the vibe of like 1 or 2 songs an album should have. Or like maybe take 2 of these and put them on a more upbeat album. And not that
but that's not really the point.
Yeah,
of
I know.
This album.
We're like, I don't know. It's all just all the same. I didn't know Willow before listening to it. I didn't know it was Taylor Swift.
You didn't know it was a Taylor? When I hit play on this album, I'm like, oh, it's this song.
Yeah,
like I didn't know what album it came from, but that's crazy. You didn't know it was Taylor Swift.
Not a clue. I thought it was somebody else. Not that
she has a very distinct voice.
Yeah. I've just heard it in grocery store.
Yeah, like she is, grocery store core. Like that, she has probably 50 songs on the Kroger playlist.
The other day, I actually turned this album off and it was playing. I was like, I just turned this off.
Well, that's what happened to me with Smash Mouth when we recorded. I walked in and All Star was playing. So Nobody No Crime was your number one
100%
with the bullet favorite.
It's not even close.
Mine was Coney Island featuring
That's not
The
bad.
National. I really like that song actually. Probably mostly because it's like a duet between her and dude from The National.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something about, I like the acoustic guitar in that song specific. Like obviously the guitar piano's all over the album, but I think it really stands out in that song. It has a neat little
It's one of the
riff
better
to
ones.
it.
I would say going into like talking about pros and cons, the only song I really like actually don't like is Closure. It's just all over the place. The music and her singing does not match in any way, shape, or form.
I'll be honest. Since that song is like near the end, that's kind of just where I zone out, and
It's like
if you played it right now, I would know it. But
it's got like I mean,
drawing
you
a blank
can, and
here.
I can cut it.
I think it was pretty forgettable because I don't know.
The piano and her singing, the melody doesn't match in any way, shape, or form, and it's like she was trying to go for like math piano. It bugged me so much.
Me and actually call that song the beep song because it has little beeps
Yeah, it
in
does.
that sound just like the buttons when you press like on our car radio. If you press a button like on the touchscreen or anything, it makes a beep sound, and they have the same beep in this song, and it's so frustrating.
But yeah, no, it has like a weird beeping production that it's not in the rest of the album even a little bit.
It is a bit odd.
The song kind of sucks.
It
It's probably the only song on here where I'd outright say it's a bad song, but it's a bad song.
looks like a lot of the fans would agree because it has the least.
That is
what are the? I'm curious. What are the most popular songs from this?
It's gonna be Willow, Champagne Problems.
Well, yeah, I figured they were, but like
All the rest
after that,
are pretty close.
yeah, they're
Evermore
all,
and Ivy being the next ones.
They're all pretty.
And Nobody.
Yeah, Closure is like a distant.
Yeah, there are
Last
songs on the Nothing But Thieves album that have more plays than that song. I was really surprised.
That's crazy. Like, I guess you're onto something here.
It's a bad song.
Even the Swifties don't like that song.
Another picky part. It's not really like I'm really ever like a prude for this stuff, but Ivy cusses too much. It says
I don't
the
know
GD
that.
word like 6-7 times, and it's just not what I ever expect Taylor Swift to go for. So it comes out of nowhere, and like if you have it in like a pre-chorus or like a chorus or something, sure, like punch people in the face, like make it like I cussed. I'm Taylor Swift.
I think initially I got that had the same thought, but then I remembered like, oh, she did that quite a bit on Folklore too.
It's not that bad of a word.
It's
to
just
be in a Taylor Swift song. I don't know what you're talking.
It's just
about.
too much.
Well, okay, it wasn't that, but like, doesn't she do it a lot in Champagne Problems, or it might be a different song? But
I didn't notice it in any other one other than that one. But it's like 8 times, and the whole like bridge is it just said in every sentence. And it's just like, Taylor, I get it, you cuss. It's like listening to Under Oath in 2020, where it's like, you're not a Christian band anymore. I get it. Stop cussing. it's
I don't see that as an issue at all. That's one of my favorite songs on this album.
It's not even bad. It's just it's there, and it's like just a little nitpicky thing. Like I joke with Ty all the time that I Prevail unnecessarily cusses all the time, but they started unnecessarily cussing, so it doesn't seem out of place. But yeah.
I don't have a whole lot more to add for this album. I really it's basically just folk less like like if I was gonna listen to one of those, it'd be Folklore any day of the week.
I have
But with that being said, I didn't hate the album. It was just not. It didn't grab my attention as much as Folklore did.
it didn't. Like I look back at listening to that, and I remember like Last Great American Dynasty fondly. Like songs from Folklore, I go back and I'm just like, you know what, this wasn't.
favorite song on Folklore.
That's one of my favorite on Folklore.
I guess you guys just do not agree on Taylor Swift.
Well, we don't.
But
You just have bad opinions.
But also, I think it's maybe like an empathy problem for me. But if you get away from the music just one step back, and it's just like, I just couldn't care less about the boy problems of a billionaire.
I mean, there is something to be said about that. It's like we've all been overexposed to Taylor Swift. It's that like at some point it's kind of hard to like take what she's saying seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh,
It's just like,
you're like the most famous woman on earth.
oh
like,
no, my boyfriend just tolerates me. Let me throw up another $1 billion somewhere. Like,
Yeah, me and Ashley were talking recently about how we are kind of tired of songs of just like rich and famous people complaining about being rich and famous.
Rev! You want to come ruin this episode?
I think we're almost done anyway.
Hey, Rev. What's happening? You're gonna call her?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
She can chill out if you want her to. Get scribbles for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, we're almost done.
We are.
Wrap up and make new next picks.
I'm trying to look to see if I have anything else. It's Ken.
What, Ken?
I turned his face, so you might want to turn him back.
Here's his brush.
No, he's a zombie. Nope, you gotta click it, Rev. There you go.
Yeah.
Going back to this, I think "Tolerate It Despite What I Just Made Fun Of" might be my favorite other song. Timmy, what's your favorite?
Probably Willow.
Okay,
Is
that's
Willow
fair too.
And then Ivy.
That seems perfectly fair.
Yeah, Willow's like, as far as Taylor Swift singles go, it's definitely one of the better ones.
It is good.
Yeah.
Going into back behind the scenes stuff, the National dude actually produced most of this album.
Oh, not what's his face?
Every single song.
Antonoff.
He did Gold Rush. That was it. Every other song is the National guy.
Huh.
So Gold Rush seems a little different.
This album kind of reminded me of how good the National used to be.
I've never actually listened to the National.
Their first couple albums are pretty good, and then they kind of just felt. I mean, they've still been releasing albums, but they just haven't been the same.
You guys are about to witness firsthand why Ken was on the table when you guys walked in.
I don't know who the National is.
He's just it's a band, so like I don't know if the whole band features in the song or just him, but it says featuring the National, but the dude's name is Matt Berenger.
I would assume it's not the whole band because there's probably only a piano in it. Pants?
But they're actually like a little local. They're from Cincinnati.
Ooh.
But
I know the name, that's all I know though. Bon Iver's in both.
Yeah.
Bon Iver, I think is how you say it.
No.
But I always call him Bon Iver too.
It's weird that Montford's not actually listed as a feature in quite a bit of the song.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, what do you rate it?
So I gave Folklore a 7, and
There's a fox on the wall.
this end of the episode is going to be unhinged.
Yeah.
It's great.
I gave Folklore a 7. Didn't like this quite as much. Didn't think it was bad, but I'll give it a 5.5.
I don't remember what I gave Folklore.
I think you might have gave it like a 7.5.
I honestly thought it was higher.
Yeah, I thought it was
I can
Sounds
check.
like a 9
I can
or
just
something.
I can just search for
Search Folklore.
Folklore. Yeah.
I think my rating scale has just shifted over
It's
time.
gonna. You got a horse?
I mean, when it comes to like the same artist, I like to try and keep it comparatively.
No, don't touch that. If you touch certain stuff right now, you'll break stuff. And if you break the podcast, I would be upset.
Timmy, you also gave it a 7.
Oh, I thought it would have been higher.
Yeah, I feel like now I would give it like an 8.
I know other people that were in it liked it a lot less than we did at the time.
Yeah.
I don't think I gave it nearly as bad as others
But I think I would give Evermore 7.
as well.
Yeah. Well, I would change Folklore to an 8.
Okay. And then-
Oh, I give Folklore 7.5. So
Ooh,
I
you gave
had,
it higher than
I had them combined, or I had them mixed up. Tristan, you gave it a 4.5.
Okay. I'm gonna go the exact same too.
Okay.
Maybe 4, just because to keep it on the same because I do like this one less.
So
4, 7, something.
Timmy gave it a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was.
Hey, Rev Girl, can you shut the door?
5.5.
Can you shut the door so that you don't escape? There you go. Good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
High five.
Bad survival instincts.
All right, so I guess we gotta leave in now.
That's all good. We can be late. Fashionably late is the way to be. So
does anybody?
go to next album picks.
Okay, who wants to start?
Ken. Hi, buddy. I pick
The Barbie soundtrack.
Aqua's album. Whatever one has Barbie Girl on it. Give me Jabba.
What the hell?
It's Jabba.
Is that a Funko Pop?
It's Jabba the Hutt. Yeah. All the kinda, I don't know. All the Star Wars ones are different, where they're like all bobbleheads, and they all have like a stand that says Star Wars.
Oh.
That one actually has a stand to sit on too, but it's in the box. What the listeners and watchers of this podcast are going to find out is that this room's like a kid's dream. It's like boxes of toys everywhere.
Is that old candy?
These are beads for a diamond painting.
Oh.
We'll put this back, Rev. That's not really a toy. Thank you.
What's your pick?
We haven't made one yet.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. My pick is Human After All by Daft Punk.
Daft Punk. How long is that one?
45 minutes.
Oh, that's not as bad.
You keep dancing around Discovery.
I gotta save it.
For what?
I don't know. But Imaginal Disk reminded me of Human After All a little bit, and I'm not sure how or why.
Is Human After All with the one with Technologic?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. Tristan, you're gonna love that song.
Am I?
No, you're not. You're probably gonna really hate that.
You'll love the music video.
I like most songs.
That's not true.
Most. Tell me.
So like I said, I struggled this week with picking an album because I was so focused on Magdalena Bay and your guys' album. So
that you're gonna pick.
I'm just
you're gonna pick the World Panic again.
I'm just gonna pick something that I was kind of listening to like off and on this week, like in addition to just because I kind of vibe with this album a lot. But it's Donuts by Jay Dilla.
You want to sit up here?
And don't be intimidated by the track length for this album. I promise you it's not as overwhelming as it seems.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Alright, Tristan, what's your pick?
I made you guys a promise a long, long time ago.
I don't remember that.
In a galaxy far, far away. That.
Yeah.
We were going to finish Aaron West this year, and I'm kind of running out of time. So Aaron West's last album.
Which
It is called In Lieu of Flowers. I normally try to not do albums as soon as they come out as well, so it's been like 9 months. It's probably about time. But, on like episode 5, when I didn't pick Aaron West right after the second Aaron West, I had said that I will do it by the end of the year, so you guys don't have to wait for the end of the story or maybe the end of the story too long.
That makes sense.
And it's going to be pretty far in November when we actually sit down to do these albums again.
Yeah.
So it's more like a seasonal.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Even though it came out in March, I feel like it fits better. You're going to take it off again? You give me a thumbnail again, Ref?
Well, all
I
right.
just kind of want to see where this goes. You're gonna press Java.
So Daft Punk, Jay Dilla, and
Aaron West in the Roaring 20s.
Wow.
Probably should say the full band name. We get slightly more listeners now than we used to. So maybe people don't know the story. Actually, Aaron West 2 was the first one that blew up.
Yeah. I don't know if it was probably, probably because of the Arctic Monkeys, but
yeah, 100%. That's our only episode with
but you might have turned some people to Aaron West. I don't know.
It is our only episode with dislikes.
Didn't the Sabrina Carpenter one overtake that in terms of views?
I know we talked about it on here, so I'll keep this in for a second. But our latest one is our third highest or fastest growing one, and I thought it was going to be like a niche one that was going to take forever to get.
That one was hard to sell.
Yeah, and it's now our third most popular video.
Is it really?
Not by like total amounts.
I was going to say it like just hit 100 views.
Versus the amount of time it's been out versus all of our other ones.
Gotcha.
It just passed the episode where we did Trench.
Ah.
That used to be our third grossest, highest, fastest, strongest.
Interesting reference.
Pick Discovery one time. Please, dude, I'm like dying.
I'm referencing Kanye. I'm kidding.
How dare you?
You went down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that has been
Hey, Rev, what's up there on
this
the wall
episode of the album sharing sessions.
What's right there? What is that?
Especially now.
Our host is deposed at the moment.
Trying to get my baby to say cuss words.
So I guess Timmy and I will close the episode.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
I'm sorry.
We'll be back in 3 weeks.
Goodbye.
At some point, we'll have a whole episode where Rev is in here the whole time. It would be a train wreck and it would be fun. Play us out, Rev.
Goodbye.